981, and I have Rotus with me. Good morning, Rotus. How are you today?
I'm fine, Ayo. Good morning to you. Good morning to all listeners and viewers. Good to be here again.
All right, great to have you here again, and in such high spirits as well. I hope you come bearing good news.
No, I'm sorry. There's no good news.
Oh dear. Okay
I'm
then.
sorry.
All right. So
Yeah.
if you'd like to join the conversation this morning, you can head on to our YouTube channel, youtube.com, search for Smooth 981 FM Lagos, or you could use our WhatsApp platform to send in your message. WhatsApp is 0809 444 0981. So, Rotus, would cooking gas reach 1,000 naira? A year ago was about 3,500, 4,000 naira, and it's gone up by over 100% in months.
Exactly.
Alongside that, we're going to talk about, hopefully we have enough time to discuss Vice President Oshibajo's stance on Forex a bit deeper as it digs deeper into the devaluation hole, according to this headline. But please, let's talk.
Yeah, so I mean, real quick, the vice president's his aide Laolu Akande put out a statement saying, where's that quote? He said, "Our attention has been drawn to statements and reports in the media mischaracterizing as a call for devaluation the view of Vice President Osibanjo that the naira exchange rate was being kept artificially low." And then this is where the hole gets deeper. It says, Osibanjo is not calling for the devaluation of the naira. He has at times argued against a willy-nilly devaluation. For context, the vice president's point was that currently the naira exchange rate benefits only those who are able to obtain the dollar at 410, some of whom simply turn around and sell to the parallel market at 570. It is stopping this huge arbitrage of over 160 naira per dollar that the vice president was talking about. I don't know what else that means to you, but if you're saying that the rate is artificially low and it needs to be moved, you are calling for a devaluation. I'm not sure how pointing out that people are taking advantage of arbitrage is any different from calling for a devaluation. And arbitrage is where you are taking advantage of a mispricing in an asset. So he's been hammered pretty heavily over the last few hours. I think we were since Business Express starts so early in the morning. So we're one of the first media outlets to jump on this, and then a whole bunch of other media outlets. It was in the papers yesterday, the headlines everywhere. So, and people are pointing the finger at him saying, "Oga, if you want to improve Nigeria's exports, one of the first things you have to do is the ports, everything we discussed yesterday." So that's what's been happening there. So this statement doesn't really clear up anything. So so the president he's got to look in the mirror, before calling for exchange rates adjustments. Anyway, cooking gas. Look, there's a whole bunch of, first of all, globally, there's a shortage. There's some supply issues with cooking gas globally. It was very interesting to find out that the UK imports, Russia provides gas to a lot of the Eurozone. The UK even gets electricity from France. There are electricity shortages in China. There's a lot of weird things going on so far this year. You should have seen Chinese stocks yesterday that tanked because of electricity shortages, utility stocks dropping. So anyway, so it's not just us, but here in Nigeria, we've got infrastructure issues. So one, you've got the global shortage of gas, natural gas around the world that is causing prices to rise, which is of course going to impact us because we import a sizable amount of our gas. There's also infrastructure issues with storage capacity here on the local front. There's also the issue of the preference of certain players in the sector, depending on the type of, the grades of gas that they prefer to use. There's a bunch of issues there, but by and large, the price is rising. It's at 7,500 now in certain areas of Lagos.
Some people, yesterday on Lagos Talks 901, some people had mentioned that in their area, especially on this side of town, on the island, they started selling gas for 10,000 naira. So some people are already preempting, and it's just crazy, really.
So what does that do? What that now means that you have to go and find alternatives, and those alternatives are not safe. So people, Business Day newspaper talked to a number of people who are resorting to charcoal. They're resorting to, other dirtier forms of power in order to, to cook. And this is just even businesses. Think of the number of, think of caterers. There's been an absolute explosion. Again, my new thing now, I just go on Instagram and I just check out businesses. That's what I do. Yeah. I bought some shirts from one random indigenous tailor that sold, formal and informal shirts. I order, food from caterers and stuff like that. So especially in the area of food, it's been just an explosion. I mean, anywhere even where you go on Instagram, because Twitter is banned, so they can't go there. Wherever you go on Instagram, you'll see.
Not strictly speaking, they say they've lifted the ban with conditions. So
also, can you tweet?
Not yet, but I mean, it means that it's not illegal. Banned. It means it's not banned. It's just that they need to effect it. They need to bring it to effect.
That's like saying that you marry somebody with conditions and then they can start claiming that you're married. Have you met the conditions to marry the person? You have to meet the conditions first before the ban is removed. So businesses, I see. So anyway, there's a preponderance of food businesses and caterers online from Nigeria. And our women and men are very talented when it comes to cooking. But there's an input cost for every caterer that you see. The more variety that you offer and what you sell for your food items, well, you're going to have to, pay for gas and so on in order to prepare the food. And so every one of these people is getting squeezed. And if you now turn to charcoal and all these other, even kerosene, all these other alternative fuels, or rather for cooking, it's not healthy. World Health Organization has said that. I think it causes asthma in children, breathing conditions in adults. So, again, and funny enough.
Well, what can people do, Rotus? I hear you. I hear you with regards to the health implications, but when people cannot afford, literally can't afford, I mean, what are they going to do? Despite the health concerns and health challenges, they're going to have to cook. They're going to have to do something about it. And like you mentioned, businesses. So imagine businesses that are compromising, all these food businesses you're talking about are compromising because they have to make ends meet and make a profit. So you don't know what's going into your food. You don't know how your food is prepared. Just that people are cutting corners. I'm saying this because I had a conversation around food as well when we talked about food inflation, whereby when we talked about bread and pastries, that bakers were finding, unhealthy and illegal means to try and meet up with production, despite almost impossible conditions to their businesses. So what they do is, they started introducing bromates, which has been banned by NAFDAC in bread, to ensure that it's still the same size and still selling it. And there was a huge red alert on what we're consuming, especially if you're not making it yourself at this time, because food is expensive. Processes, like you've mentioned, gas has gone up, petrol has gone, a number of things have gone up, and yet they still have to make profit. So just
indeed, so things. Very good, excellent point. So shrink, FMCGs, people who, if you sell pastries in plastic and so on and so forth, the term is shrinkflation, right? So shrinkflation meaning that they are selling smaller items, right? And they are reduced, the sizes are reduced. And that's what they're trying to pass off in order to get past these price increases. And it's bad. What I'll tell people, I've tried to reduce my consumption of bread and pastries. If you want abs, just eat fruits. And they there's a bunch of young men who carry these carts and there's an abundance of fruits. Even fruits have gone up, unfortunately. I love pineapples. I used to pay 500 naira, 400 naira for a pineapple. Now those things are going for 1,500, almost 2,000 naira. It's insane. So what will businesses do? You're correct. They will have to move to reduce the amount to affect their margins. So volumes are going to be impacted. Well, as far as government is concerned, LNG, the liquefied natural Nigeria, NLNG has said that it wants to jump into the domestic gas LPG space in June or July of 2022. They've been saying that the capacity that they've tried to allocate for Nigeria's domestic sector, it's not something that can be met because of, as I mentioned before, infrastructure issues. So this is something that cuts right to the heart of the everyday Nigeria. And look, this is October. December is coming. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of, I think it's going to be a muted Christmas period where, because demand for partying and foods and celebration, that should push prices up, which is going to increase the amount of, and so the gas shortage is coming at a very bad time. Also, overseas, we're moving into a winter period in the northern hemisphere and the west, right? So winter means that people are going to be turning to heating, and the more heat, demand for gas is going to increase as our Western counterparts try to warm up their homes. So, and then also there's the COVID issue with flu and the cold season. So as we gear up for the end of the year, it's going to be a bit tough. It's going to be a bit tough. So,
all right. Let's take some comments. We have a few that have come through. Benga Kamu says, is it not the gas we are flaring? And can we not harness it for cooking? Rotus.
Yeah, that is gas flaring. That's been an issue that has been prevalent in the country. We've tried and tried as far as reducing it. More effort has to be made. Nigeria is a gas giant. Like we say oil and gas, there's a lot of focus on oil. The issue is it is a very capital intensive practice in order to get that, get as much gas as we can out of the ground. So it costs money. That's the issue.
Yeah. All right, Stopper from Lagos says inflation is really the main cause of climate change and it's damaging Earth more than we know it. With gas prices rising, people would kill more trees. Princess Rotus, I've been listening to your opinion on Forex for years, and even during the era a long time ago, one thing you guys always said is that free market free market system on Forex. To the extent of using Egypt as example, your take on VP's comments now makes me confused on what exactly you guys, what free market you advocate. What do you really want?
Yeah. So the thing is, when countries devalue, your exports become cheaper for other countries. Unfortunately, what does Nigeria have to export? So Prince is right. I'm an advocate for free markets, and I used to preach that the naira should be floated. But even look, when Osibanjo and Buhari came into office, the naira was at 160 per dollar. It's now 4 on the official market. So devaluation has already happened. Have more dollars come in? More foreign direct investment coming. So I've had to alter my stance because in seeing the reality on the ground on Nigeria, until we start exporting proper finished goods, phones, computers, shoes, until you start selling more stuff that can bring you dollars, devaluation is not going to help. So I've altered my stance. I'll say it openly, and I support a managed float of what the central bank is doing because we're just not exporting. So until we start to do what our counterparts are doing in other countries, I have to alter my stance. So that what I've been pushing for was the textbook free market philosophy on Forex, but that's textbook. The reality on ground is that Nigeria's exports are not diversified enough. Can't depend on it. So there you go, Prince.
All right, thank you. Kara says, cooking gas is getting high. I thought we get gas on petroleum products. How come this is going up daily? Not all people can even pay for electricity, more or less cooking gas. God help us.
Electricity is going up, by the way. It's a tariff increase. You'll see it in your October bill.
It says the VAT on gas, which is used by everyone, including food vendors, should be removed to reduce the cost. As for the VP, let's talk, get the job done. Atiku was in charge of the economy during Obasanjo's administration.
Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to mention that in September, the federal government introduced 7.5% VAT on imported gas, and the players in the sector were complaining about it. Thank you so much for that message. I forgot to mention that. Yes, that's also part of the issue as well. But infrastructure, gas sorted, all that is still there as well. Indeed.
All right. Thank you. From YouTube, Dakwalawal says, eloquent liars. That's what they are. They just speak and they're not telling the truth. Thank you all very much for your messages and for your contribution. We're out of time. I see a few more comments have come through.
Let's go to 7 o'clock, Joe. Even 7:30. What are you talking about?
Rotus, take your matter to the government and the government that be. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day. You can find Rotus at Rotan Coast and find us at Smooth981 on Instagram and Smooth981 FM Lagos for our edition for our YouTube channel. Search on there. In 15 minutes or now 14 minutes, I'll be having a conversation with Olakumi, and I think it's something you'd be interested in. So make sure you stay tuned. Then at 7:30, we're going to be talking about the news stories during Freshly Pressed 981 this morning. Do stay tuned. I'm Ayo Mairo-Ese. Thanks for listening.
Business Express. Brought to you by N10.